I set up at Tucson ComicCon, and here's what happened. Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin in Tucson, Arizona. And if you're joining us today because you went to Tucson ComicCon, welcome to a channel that talks about coins and coin collecting. Please hang around for a minute and give some feedback on what you saw at Comic-Con and tell me what you think about whether or not I have a fair treatment of the situation. And also, for those of you who are normally here just because of coin-related content, please hang out and watch and listen and see if you can track with what I'm trying to communicate here. So I set up at Tucson Comic-Con. For those of you who don't know what a Comic-Con is, it is a convention that usually is set up particular to fandoms, people who are fans of things that are pop culture related, usually related to movies, theater, books, the arts, that type of thing, comic books. So there's a huge gamut that they can be. Now, sometimes you go to some conventions and they will be only related to one very narrow aspect. It'll only be, really for people that are geeking out on video games or on anime or on just like Star Trek, right? But this is a broader subject and it's for everybody to show up at. And I went there last year with my family and I said, you know what, next year I need to set up as a shop there. And if you want to see my costumes, they are going to be here at the end of the video. I was on Friday, I was Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls. Saturday, I was Kip Dynamite from Napoleon Dynamite. And Sunday, I was Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. I can be very nicely embarrassed if you watch the end of the video. All right, so a Comic-Con, for those of you who are coin collectors and you're thinking, why would you go to a Comic-Con? It's actually pretty basic for me. That is, when I look at a place like this, I look at a place where I fit in. As a coin collector, I fit in. Now, for some of you, that may seem a little bit odd because you're like, well, I don't really feel like getting dressed up. This has nothing to do with what I do or how I see the world, Ben. What are you talking about? Well, the reality is that most people that are there, they're really fans of one or two particular things. Like us, most of us coin collectors, we really like coins, but maybe we collect a little bit of paper money. And you go to a convention, oftentimes you're going to try to find things that are related to your passion, your hobby. And in fact, I had a panel that a panel, which is basically someone gets up and presents, or sometimes it'll be like a trivia thing. But for me, it was a panel where I talked about growing a YouTube channel through my passion, which is what this is, right? This is my passion, my hobby, and we have a YouTube channel because of it. And so being able to be there and share my passion with people who don't know coins or who are coin adjacent at this point in time, and they're just looking around and like, oh, what is this? It was a perfect opportunity for me to be able to get the word out about coins and coin collecting to people who already collect things. So one of the remarks that I get lots of times from collectors is that, kids today, they don't collect things. Well, I have kids today, and let me tell you, they collect things. It's just a matter of getting the things in front of them that you like to see if they like it as well. And they're not all going to like it, but that's okay. We had a broad range of people there. So let me tell you what happens at some of these Comic-Cons. People get dressed up. You don't have to get dressed up. Lots of people are not dressed up. Maybe they just have a Star Wars t-shirt on or something like that. But also, it's not all weird stuff you've never seen before. Yes, there's people that have tails on them. Okay, that's a thing. But also, you see people that are dressed up as David Bowie or as Weird Al Yankovic or as Albert Einstein or as Doc Holliday. There's some really cool Tombstone ones. And then you'll see all the action figure guys, all the Spider-Mans and Supermans and all that stuff everywhere. It's actually kind of a good time. And it's a time for me to say, listen, can we have some joy still in life? Like, what's fun for me about this is a happy place. Like, people are there and they're having a good time. Huge lines waiting to get in, waiting a half an hour for parking, 20 minutes to get through the door, and they're still happy. Could you imagine that at a coin show, people waiting that long to get in? That's would be a beautiful thing, right? I mean, you don't really see that at too many coin conventions where people are really just like, can't wait to get into a show. I know it happens a little bit here and there, but you know what I mean? It's not that to that extreme. So my mission when I was there was to get coin collecting in front of the people. We gave away a couple hundred bags of coins to mostly to smaller kids. Gave out a bunch of little stickers and stuff for our YouTube channel, the Coin Geek, to let kids know of multiple generations. Hey, if you have any interest in coins or you're curious, check this out. Just go take a look, see if it interests you, see if you'd have fun with this or not. So the places where the coin collecting and all this other Comic-Con stuff comes together, where there's just like an obvious overlap to me, is the fact that oftentimes people are there and there's a huge convention full of artists and vendors that are selling merchandise for very, very particular fandoms, right, of different genres, of different items. And so the same way that you go to a coin show and you can spend all day looking for that one coin that fits into the set of what you're looking for, they do the exact same thing. Where whether they're collecting figurines or artwork or stickers or t-shirts, they might be looking for just the right thing that they can't find anywhere else, because a lot of this is just one-off artwork that someone's creating. And so, you know, as an example, you know, my wife looks for over the garden wall shirts and merchandise, and it's very hard to locate because it's not as popular as, say, some other Marvel Universe type stuff that you'll see out there in the marketplace. There's certain things you see a lot of, just like in coins, you'll see a lot of the same things over and over again. But then there's certain items when you see it, you're like, okay, that's different, that's special, and I need to get that. At the end of the day, I'm reminded of a quote from Muppets in Manhattan, which is that people's is people's. And so when you see this, when you see people in having a good time, it reminds me actually of a lot of the coin shows that I go to, where you see people, they're getting geeked out on very specific items that the average person may come in and be like, you're looking at coins? Like, what's wrong with you, right? So I want to make sure that people in the coin community never cast aspersions towards people that are doing this other stuff over here, that are doing other collectibles. You know, to be able, for us as a community, to be able to broaden our tents and get more collectors in, which is, I think, what we want, right? I mean, we want more collectors in general. We want a next generation to be able to enjoy the hobby, right? Is that what we want? I think it's what we want. At least it's what I want. It's a part of our mission here. So, but we need to be able to look around and say, you know, maybe if we go out someplace outside of our own four walls, we have the opportunity to show people coins and coin collecting. And so overall, for me, it was a really big success. The show is very, very friendly and family oriented, which is not the same as every con I've been to. I went to Phoenix Fan Fusion in May, which is like a huge con. It's like 5 times. I think they get 100,000 people there. By the way, this show I think probably had 20,000 people attend in a 3-day show, right? But in the Phoenix Fan Fusion, I think it has about 100,000 people. It feels and looks a little bit more adult oriented, as though there are no children in Phoenix, but it just has that feel to it. Whereas this is like lots and lots of families going around, you know, looking for Lego sets or looking for whatever it is that they want to find there, right? There you can, people go around taking photos of each other in their cool costumes and outfits. And by the way, if you haven't dressed up in a costume or an outfit since you were like a kid for Halloween, it's actually a very fun thing to do still. So, you know, hopefully I can encourage some of you to consider actually finding a costume that you would fit into. The people who are dressed up as like Gene Simmons and Albert Einstein and some old rock and roll stars and stuff, David Bowie, they had all kinds of love, like people coming up to them from all type of generations, be like, oh, David Bowie's here. You know, to me, that's really kind of just fun to see, where everyone's getting together. I see that same camaraderie lots of times at coin shows when you go and you see people that haven't seen each other since last year at the show, and this year they get together and they're still collecting Standing Liberty quarters together or whatever the item is that they're all looking for, right? So Tucson ComicCon, worth attending if you're a con fan, if you like conventions. It's definitely a fun one to attend. There's lots of stuff to see and do. The other thing that people do there, by the way, is they'll go to see famous movie stars or people who are authors or voice actors. John Ratzenberger was there. Cliff was there. So that was, I think, one of the big draws for this generation, kind of above me, that was there. But people of many generations still like and adore the guy. So it's fun. Jimmy Hart was there. Some of you know who Jimmy Hart is. So, but anyways, it was a good time, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again next year. We're going to double down, I think, on the amount of things that we have to give away. You know, this year we gave away 200 bags. Next year, I think we'll give away 400 or more. Now that I have a better understanding of what it looks like, it's a great time for all. All right, so here is my costumes as Dr. Doofenshmirtz on Sunday, Kip on Saturday, and Grunkle Stan on Friday. Let it roll. Thanks, guys, for being here. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.
Kids, you know I can't play favorites. Mabel, you know you're the best. And I'll always think you're the best. And Dipper, you're my man. Can't believe that worked.
You're just jealous because I'm at Tucson ComicCon.
A platypus at Tucson ComicCon? What is a platypus doing at Tucson ComicCon? Perry the platypus at Tucson ComicCon?